I'm going to announce that after 58 years in journalism, which started right here at TCU, that I'm going to retire this summer. I wanted to make this announcement here because really this is where my professional life started. I got a job while I was a sophomore at TCU at a small radio station, paid $1 an hour. Overtime was 90 cents an hour. And I thought it was the best job in the whole world. I worked 44 hours a week that summer, and during my during my junior and senior year, went off to the Air Force, where I also had a series of journalism jobs, editing various military publications. Came back to Fort Worth, and because the night police reporter at the Star-Telegram, Phil Ruckert, was being promoted to night city editor, he had known me from covering car wrecks at the radio station and recommended me to take his place. I went to work as a night police reporter for the Star-Telegram. That led, I guess, to my most famous story, the story when I was on the desk the day that President Kennedy was shot. And I got the phone call, and it turned out to be Lee Harvey Oswald's mother, and I took her to Dallas on that fateful day. Then the Star-Telegram sent me to Vietnam. I was the first reporter from a Texas newspaper to go there. The first reporter they had had overseas since World War II. The Star-Telegram was really, and this is, I owe them so much, it was nonstop. I mean, it was one-stop shopping for me. Number one, they gave me a job, and Phil Ruckert taught me how to be a reporter. Jack Butler sent me to Vietnam. And then the publisher of the Star-Telegram, Amon Carter Jr.'s wife, found me a wife. So it was, I owe the Star-Telegram. The big stories in my life were the Kennedy assassination, Vietnam, Watergate, and then 9/11. Those were what I call the important stories. In a funny kind of way, the assassination of John Kennedy and 9/11 were the two hardest stories. Reporters, we're trained to do stories about other people, and those were about us. Those were our families that were at risk. You know what people don't realize about all these years after the Kennedy assassination, we didn't know what this meant. We didn't know if these were the first shots fired in World War III. You had this big nuclear base out here at Carswell Air Force Base where the nuclear bombers were. We knew that Fort Worth would be one of the major targets if there was a nuclear war. We didn't know what this was, and we were literally terrified by that. I mean, all of that was hanging over this story, unlike anything that any of us had ever covered or anyone alive that day had experienced. Washington now is totally different than when I came there in 1969. When, for example, we would have members of Congress come over to our house, for dinner and things like that. We'd have Republicans, Democrats, they all knew each other, their kids went to school together. Now, evenings like that seldom happen because, amongst other things, they don't want to be seen with each other anymore because they think the people back home will think they're consorting with the enemy. There's almost no contact. Elected officials don't even know each other anymore. The only time they come together is when they vote. And Washington is completely and totally broken. And I don't know what's going to happen here, but the partisanship now, the ability to get anything done is far worse than any time that I've ever seen it in the 46 years that I've been there. Because managing information has become so sophisticated now. When I came to Washington in 1969, even then, most members of Congress didn't have press secretaries. Now, you know, the lowliest subcommittee chairman has a media coach, and you know, and these consultants and all these gurus telling them, you know, if you'll just say this, no matter what they ask you, you'll be safe, which is absolutely wrong. When people evade a question, it's very obvious to the audience, to the people who are watching. And a non-answer becomes an answer. I mean, I will sometimes ask the same question twice and maybe 3 times. During the presidential campaign, I asked Mitt Romney last time 4 times what his position was on immigration. And he evaded the question 4 times, and that became an answer, if you understand. And my advice to people coming on talk shows, if you don't have something to say, stay home. You don't look good evading questions and just getting your face on television. My all-time favorite guest on Face the Nation has always been Sam Nunn, the former chairman of the Armed Services Committee, who I would call up and say, you want to be on Face this week? And he'd say, you know, I don't have anything to say this week. Well, thank you for being honest. Thank you for not wasting my time. And more important, thank you for not wasting the viewers' time. You know, the thing about journalism, it's just so much fun. You know, I think no matter what you choose to do in life, it ought to be something that is not you go into it thinking you're going to make a lot of money or something, but just choose something you like. And then if you get good at it, the success part will take care of itself. And you have to get lucky along the way. You know, lightning has to strike every once in a while. It certainly did for me. You know, being in the right place at the right time. But the secret is taking advantage of that.